Hi, more Cowbell, Brandon Walker, the Mississippi State Podcast here on SEC Country, coming to you from the SEC Country Studios. I've got my bells right here. I've got my Shrekking crew on the other side of the glass. They are so happy to be doing what they're doing today. I'm very excited to be here with them. We're going to talk about Mississippi State football. That's what we do every single day, right? We talk about Mississippi State football. We talk about Mississippi State baseball. We talk about Mississippi State sports. It's Ties Day here in the SEC Country Studio. A little loose, but it's okay. It's a good-looking tie, isn't it? That's a good-looking tie. Got the Mississippi State logos right there. I know what I'm doing. Hail State, Wayman Hodge, Michael Clyburn from Hazelhurst, Troy Harper from the Queen City. I don't know what the Queen City is. There's many Queen Cities, right? Is Charlotte the Queen City? Is Meridian the Queen City? Hail State from Lafayette County, John Burnett. Hail State from Senatobia, Will Boudreaux Sturgis. Micah Halfacre from Corpus Christi, and Marty Sandifer from Hernando. We'll talk about Joe Moorhead. He is the head coach of Mississippi State. I talked to him last week during his Road Dogs tour. He said some things that we talked about on the show yesterday. I kind of buried it because I talked about everything he talked about. Today I want to go back and pull out what he talked about in a couple of points about being aggressive offensively that I'm going to kind of parse out today and really talk about at length. We'll talk about that today. Mississippi State baseball in the SEC tournament against LSU today at 4:30. That's not happening. The first game already delayed, so they'll probably play sometime Friday. But Mississippi State baseball in the SEC tournament, very exciting stuff as they go in with a lot more momentum than we thought they would. Third topic on the show today, I'm sure it's very interesting. Around the SEC. We'll talk about what happened around the SEC this weekend. One thing happened in Baton Rouge that I think will affect Mississippi State this season. I'm not scared of LSU now, but certainly they were given a gift that they frankly didn't deserve. But we'll talk about that. And 2-minute drill at the end of the show to wrap it up. Like always, 2-minute drill to end the show. Hail State from Mendenhall, Lance Chain. Hail State from Lake Cormorant, Joy Dees. D. Curtis says it's hailing today from Conway, Arkansas. Oh, I see. You're hailing state is what you're doing. It's not actually hailing rain. My bad. I got confused. And hail isn't rain, so what am I talking about? Hail State from Hope, British Columbia, Bob Giles. Morning, D. Curtis, says Karen Morgan DeWeese. Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking to her. You're not even talking to me, Karen. Excuse me. My bad. Good morning, fam. Hello, Grace Thacker Good. Hello, Pascagoula, Mississippi, Steve Martin. So I got all the regulars in here, all the usual suspects checking in this morning as we talk about Joe Moorhead and his offense, as we talk about Mississippi State baseball in the SEC tournament. We'll talk about a little bit of everything. Also, I don't know if you guys saw it, Rafael Palmeiro is 53 years old and hitting home runs in the Independent League. We'll have that video for you later. It was on Twitter yesterday. Rafael Palmeiro, 53, and hitting home runs in the Independent League. That's very, very interesting. Hail State from Huntsville, Alabama. Reeves Fancher has 2 more days of school. My kids are already out. We're already out of school. We got out Friday, so my wife is at home with my 11 kids, and they are having a good time. Or a bad time. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm working. Hello from Houston, Mississippi, Sandra Thompson. Arnaldo Camarena from Stark Vegas. Jonathan Philly says good morning. Good morning, Jonathan Philly. Linda Pierce Dressman, go Big Dogs from the Buckeye State. There's a new one, the Buckeye State. Iowa. Beautiful this time of year. No, I know it's Ohio. All right, that was a joke. Hail State from Bentonville, Arkansas. Hardy Waltman says good morning. Brian Mendiguez says it's a good time to be a dog for life. And Will Boudreaux Sturgis' kids get out this Friday. Congratulations, Will. Welcome to hell. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Did you purposely have 11 kids? No, we had 10 on purpose. The 11th was an accident. Hail State from Ocean Springs with my summer work crew. I've got one summer that's part of the Famous Maroon Band. One this summer that's part of the Famous Maroon Band, Jason Sherman. Good for him. Always love the Famous Maroon Band. Happy Ties Day. Thank you very much. I will let you take that in. Move this bell for a second. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at that. Oh, I kind of like that design too. So we'll talk about Joe Moorhead. We'll talk about baseball. We'll talk about around the SEC. Then we'll have a 2-minute drill at the end of the show. Hail State from Point City. TC Lenore checking in this morning. Good to see TC. Hello from Frisco, Texas. Can't wait for that Florida game. West Point checking in again. Tracy Davis. Thank you, Tracy Davis, for checking in. That's a That's a new one checking in here on the show. Point City. Hail State from glorious Belle Chase. Tony Mariotti. And Jessica Elm Bosley checking in from West Virginia. We'll go one more minute, Norcross, Georgia. Thanks for being here. I got very excited. We talked yesterday. I got very excited about Joe Moorhead and the Road Dog speech, but I got ahead of myself. I got out over my skis a little bit and didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about, so we're going to bring that back today. And the overall theme of this show is the experts, the national media, everybody's saying, hey, how's Mississippi State going to be as good when they lost Dan Mullen? After 9 years, how's that offense going to be as good? Well, the answer is the offense is going to be better because Mississippi State has a better offensive coach this year. That's the answer. And that's what I want to talk about today on this show. Octavian Bush from Meridian, hello. Did you ever get someone to make your sign? Martin Smith, that's on hold for a second. That's on hold. But I will eventually. Somebody did text me or message me. Oh, you know what? Make me a graphic. We got a new email address on the show. I don't know if you can make me a graphic for the show. We got a new email address. So if you want to contact the show, you can email me at morecowbellshow@gmail.com. That's morecowbellshow@gmail.com. Again, morecowbellshow@gmail.com. You got that for a nice little graphic there, Land Shark? She's really good at what she does. She's a great, look at that. Right there on the show. If you ever want to talk to me or email me or message me, email me at morecowbellshow@gmail.com. As I've said that 7 times in the last 30 seconds. Terp's a little sore today. I don't know why. He was in a good mood right up to the show, and now he's all mad. Now he's all salty. Skirt? Okay. All right. I didn't mean to do that. Now, you okay, Land Shark? You about ready to go? Will you ask him if he's ready to go? Okay. Let's go.
It's the More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker, More Cowbell. Watch me scare these people in the hall. I got them pretty good. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SEC Country. Again, Brandon Walker, we are rung in here on a Tuesday in the SEC Country Studios. I'm fired up. Let's talk about Mississippi State's offense this year. Last week and on yesterday's show, I talked about going to the restaurant Hudson Grill here in Sandy Springs last week and hearing Joe Moorhead, the new Mississippi State coach, talk about Mississippi State football. I got fired up. Yesterday I went over all of his points, and it was a long speech. It was 30 or 45-minute speech, and I kind of dusted over every single one, but there were a couple of things at the end of that speech that I kind of just glossed over, and I talked about it for just briefly. But today I want to flesh that out and talk about it as our main topic, Mississippi State's offense, how they're going to be more aggressive in 2018. The baseball team is in Hoover this week, just like every other baseball team that's worth its salt in the SEC. They are in Hoover. They play LSU today. I don't know if it's as big a game now as it would have been last week at this time. Certainly last week you thought, hey, if we can beat Florida once and then win one in the SEC tournament, we're good. Well, we swept Florida, and Mississippi State's in a different place than they thought they would be. Still, the momentum, where Mississippi State is compared to where they were, where they could be if they keep winning like this, it's not a must-win game, but it's a game that would be really, 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 really nice to win as you move on in the SEC tournament. Around the SEC, at the end of the show, we'll talk about what happened at LSU and Baton Rouge as LSU gets a gift this weekend. Still doesn't change many of my feelings about LSU and how terrible they'll be this year, but certainly will something happen in Baton Rouge that we need to talk about. And a 2-minute drill at the end of the show. You know how that works. I've got 5 questions. You've got 5 answers, and we'll talk about that. Now, you can also email the show. I don't know if I've told you. Certainly on the Facebook Live. I don't know if I've said this yet. But we have a new email address, morecowbellshow@gmail.com. morecowbellshow@gmail.com. That's the first time I've actually told them on the Facebook Live. I haven't said it 31 times. So let's get to the show. Joe Moorhead Last week, I haven't talked about Maroon and Company yet. I'm wearing this beautiful tie. I am wearing this beautiful tie on Ties Day here in the SEC Country Studio, and it's good looking. I look very handsome. I'm very excited about it. Or as handsome as a 39-year-old overweight father of four is going to look. Anyway, Maroon and Company, Highway 12 in Starkville, behind Chick-fil-A, at Maroon & Co. on Twitter, maroonandco.com. They've got ties like this. They've got gear like this. They got cowbells like this. You'll get lost. Maroon & Company has supplied me with cowbells. I've got the wardrobe. Maroon & Company is the best place to get Mississippi State gear in the world. Go there and tell them Brandon Walker sent you, then you might be arrested. I don't know. But go there and tell them Brandon Walker sent you and see what happens. I don't know what will happen, but maybe, that's a good close-up of the tie right there. Look at that. Thank you very much. Thank you for the tie close-up. Little tie music. Now, Joe Moorhead is the coach of Mississippi State University. And last week he talked to Mississippi State fans on the Road Dogs tour. I think yesterday he was on a Rotary tour somewhere. He's going to speak all summer. If you can go see him, go see him. But yesterday I talked about something he talked about last week. Offensively, well, let me start it like this. Nationally and regionally, when magazine pundits and when newspaper pundits and when the experts, when they get together and they vote on who's going to be the best team in the SEC or the fifth best team in the SEC, when they rank the teams, some of them who have declined to rank Mississippi State very highly are using the excuse or using the reasoning that Dan Mullen is gone. And if Dan Mullen is gone, Mississippi State's not going to be as good. After all, he built what they are right now. And there's truth to that. Certainly Dan Mullen's been here 9 years. And he has established himself as a competent coach in the SEC. And Joe Moorhead's never been a head coach in the SEC. That's a fair take. But the more I look at it, and the more I think about it, and the more I analyze it, Dan Mullen was a good offensive coach at Mississippi State. He was a good head coach. Joe Moorhead's a better offensive coach than Dan Mullen ever was. Joe Moorhead's offense is going to be more aggressive. It's going to be more exciting. It's going to be more dynamic. And Mississippi State's going to be a better offensive football team under Joe Moorhead, than Dan Mullen. So all the excuses, all the reasonings, their coaches in Gainesville now, they can't win. Pay attention, because Joe Moorhead is bringing a dynamic, electric offense, something the State hasn't had in a while. Now, State's been good offensively. State's been good, but they haven't been explosive. They haven't been explosive at all. They've just kind of been Novocaine, kind of just put you to sleep, kind of just 10 plays, touchdown, 10 plays, field goal. Now I think Joe Moorhead's offense is going to be more like, 2 plays, 78-yard touchdown. That's going to become more of a thing under Joe Moorhead than it was under Mullen. And Moorhead talked about a couple of things last week that I buried on the show yesterday. I want to bring them up. He wants to win the coin toss, and he wants to receive the ball every time he wins the coin toss. He wants his offense on the field first in every single game. Every time he has a chance to set the tone in a game, he is putting his offense on the field. That is not a small thing. That is a coach saying, my offense is better than your defense. My offense is getting on the field. We're going to set the tone. We're going to win this game, and you got to stop us from the start. We're coming at you all day. He also said that Mississippi State is going to go for 2 more often from now on. I don't know that I love that idea. It does get you it can get you in a hole every now and then. But listen, if that's what he believes, that's what he believes. State's going to be a team that goes for 2 more often. But the main point of this, forget about going for 2, forget about winning the toss and receiving. The main point of this is by doing that, Joe Moorhead's plan is attack, attack, attack. If you're taking the ball first every time by choice, you are attacking. If you're going for 2, you are attacking. And State hasn't been in attack mode on offense recent years. Maybe under Dak Prescott they were, but certainly over the last couple of years, where the leading receiver on the team had 27 catches last season. State hasn't been in attack mode. It's been in grind mode. It's been in strain mode. It's been in we'll get the ball down the field by continuing to pound and pound and pound. Joe Moorhead isn't going to pound. He is going to strike with precision. He's going to be much more aggressive in making the offense the identity of the team. That's been lacking. That has been lacking. I just want to look at a couple of numbers, and then we'll move on. It's going to be a short show today. But last year, Penn State had 5,984 yards. Mississippi State had, that's right here, Mississippi State had 5,442 total yards, so about 500 yards difference. But how they got there is the difference in attacking and not attacking. Trace McSorley, the quarterback for Penn State, he had 427 pass attempts. He had 284 completions. That's 2 less completions than Fitzgerald had attempts. Trace McSorley rushed the ball 144 times. Nick Fitzgerald rushed the ball 162 times, 18 more times than McSorley. So bottom line is Trace McSorley had, if you add up the pass attempts, you add up the rushing attempts, he had about almost 600 chances to affect a game. Almost 600. And he was one of their best players. Nick Fitzgerald, 286, 166. What was that, about 440, 450? So Trace McSorley had 150 more times to affect a football game than Nick Fitzgerald. Nick Fitzgerald's a better player than Trace McSorley. But Joe Moorhead is putting the game in his playmakers' hands. He's getting the ball to Saquon Barkley out of the backfield 54 times. He's getting the ball to Saquon Barkley in the rushing game a lot. He is getting the ball to his wide receivers and his tight end, something Dan Mullen did not do because he didn't recruit well at wide receiver and he ignored the tight end position. Well, Penn State last year, Joe Moorhead had 4 receivers with over 50 catches, including a tight end and a running back. 2 receivers, a tight end, and a running back. When's the last time Mississippi State had a tight end with more than 50 catches? I'll save the spoiler for you. It never happened under Dan Mullen. Ever. When's the last time they had a running back with 50 catches? It never happened under Dan Mullen. Joe Moorhead did it last year. And the reason I bring that up, Kylan Hill is a guy that can catch 50 balls out of the backfield. Mississippi State has tight ends that can catch 50 balls. Joe Moorhead uses his playmakers. He uses the entire field. He spreads it around, and every good player gets a huge opportunity to affect the game. Dan Mullen didn't always do that for Mississippi State. Last year, Penn State averaged 41 points a game, good for 6th in the country. Mississippi State averaged 32, good for 41st in the country. Again, Ayers Williams, who I absolutely love, had 236 rushing attempts. That was actually more than Saquon Barkley, who had 217 rushing attempts. But Barkley was also in the receiving game. He was also in the kick return game. He did all of that. Ayers Williams not really in the receiving game, had 16 catches. The point is, Joe Moorhead is going to be aggressive and attack. It's going to be different. It's going to be a better offense. For everybody that says Mullen's gone, State won't be as good, I'm telling you right now, the day Mullen left and Joe Moorhead got there, the State offense got better for the future. Mississippi State baseball. Mississippi State baseball is in Hoover playing LSU. 4:30 today, although that won't happen. I think the first game is already backed up. First game already had a delay. But State goes into the SEC tournament with a lot more momentum than anybody anticipated. A lot more momentum behind Mississippi State than anybody anticipated because they swept Florida. Nobody thought they'd sweep Florida. I didn't think that, but they did. So State, instead of coming to Hoover needing a win to get into the NCAA tournament, State's in. Mississippi State is in, and probably a 2 seed somewhere. Now, can you improve? Can you get a better 2 seed at maybe a worse regional? Maybe. I don't really know the answer to that question. But certainly the game against LSU is not a must-win game, but it feels like to maintain the momentum, it's a very important game. You'd like to keep this momentum going. I don't know that you want to just throw your whole team out and get all tired, but still, you'd like to follow up a sweep by beating LSU. You knock LSU out, and they're not in great standing either. LSU needs to win. LSU is in a must-win situation. State's not. So if State were to be able to beat LSU today and really put the screws to that program, all the better, right? One baseball thing I want to talk about before I move on. Rafael Palmeiro. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He was a part of a group called Thunder and Lightning at Mississippi State back in the 80s. The 80s were a decade between 1981 and 1990, where there was Back to the Future and Ghostbusters and Michael Jackson. Anyway, you know the 80s. Rafael Palmeiro was around the 80s. He played at Mississippi State. So hit for the Triple Crown. I think won the Golden Spikes Award. He was a good player, apparently. That's what I'm hearing. Goes on to Major League Baseball, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits, Hall of Fame career. It ends in, disgrace as Mississippi, or as he had a positive steroid test. He's been through a lot of stuff. He had the Congress thing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but Rafael Palmeiro wants to keep playing baseball. He is 53 years old. He signs with an independent league team. And last night, he steps up to bat, and he does this.
Here's the pitch. That's well hit to right field. Looking up at the fence. Goodbye!
Zero shot for the first baseman, Rafael Cowbell.
That swing is still amazing. Did you see that swing? It looks like the same swing he always had for the Cubs and the Rangers and the Orioles and the Rangers again and the Orioles again. Same swing. Same sweet swing he always had. There it is on the screen again. He's waiting. 53 years old, and boom. That is beautiful. I don't care. Rafael Palmeiro, I don't care what problems he had. I don't care how his career ended. Rafael Palmeiro, a great Bulldog, has always been a great Bulldog. We've got the Palmeiro Center on campus. And is Rafael Palmeiro going back to the major leagues? No, he's not. He's not. But that guy wants to play baseball, and he's playing baseball, and he hits a home run, and that's just beautiful to see. That is fantastic. I could watch that video all day long. Probably not going to, but I could. Around the SEC, I have many times on this show coming into the 2018 season told you that I think LSU is just going to be straight garbage in 2018. I don't think they're going to be a good football team. They're coached by the worst coach in all of Division I football. They have no quarterback. They have no running back. They're returning no receivers. Their offensive line is just okay. They're not going to be a good team. They're not going to be a good program. They are the toilet has been flushed on LSU, and it is circling the drain. But they did get a little bit of a reprieve. There was a lifesaver thrown into the toilet recently. Joe Burrow, Ohio State transfer quarterback, for some reason decided to go to LSU. He said, you know what? I got one last chance at college football. I got to make this count. I want to go to the NFL, so I'm going to go play for Ed Orgeron because that's where quarterbacks go play, right? Oh, boy. But it does change a little bit. LSU coming into this season was not going to have a quarterback. You can talk about the three they had on campus. They weren't going to have a quarterback. They were going to be terrible at the quarterback position. I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be good, but I can't say that he's going to be terrible. This does improve their team. I think it takes them from a 5-7, 4-8 disaster to maybe a 7-5 team, maybe 6-6. And if he's really, 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 really good, maybe it elevates them even further. But it's going to be hard for them to overcome that coach. It's going to be hard for them to overcome a lot of other things. The reason I'm talking about LSU is State needs to beat LSU in Baton Rouge this year to have a special season. 2014, State goes down to Baton Rouge, wins 34-29, just beats the crap out of LSU for 3.5 quarters till Dan Mullen takes his foot off the gas. And then State has a special year. State has to win in Baton Rouge for this to be a good year. State can't lose to LSU and this be considered a fantastic season at Mississippi State. So now they have gone out and they have recruited a transfer quarterback, maybe changed a little bit for them. Before this happened, I was 99% sure Mississippi State was going to beat LSU this season in Baton Rouge. Now I'm about 94% sure. There is that little doubt, will the quarterback be good enough to change things? I don't think so. I don't think so because that guy on the screen is such a terrible coach, and the program is, The Walking Dead right now. They don't know it yet. LSU fans still think they're going to win the SEC West. They're not. But that is a game changer, possibly. Possibly. 2-minute drill. Number one, I have asked this question in many forms on this show. And I have said, who's your favorite basketball player? Who's your favorite football player? Who's your favorite this at Mississippi State? So I'm just going to ask this very vague. Who is your very favorite MSU athlete of all time, regardless of sport? Who is your very favorite MSU athlete of all time? Your favorite Bulldog there ever was in the history of Mississippi State sports? Chris Bell says, go LSU Tigers. Well, that's unfortunate for you, Chris Bell. They're going to go to the Motor City Bowl. Daniel Browning says Dak Prescott. Troy Harper says Jonathan Banks. And Jay Stubbs says Bailey Howell. Dak Prescott from Alan Collins. Everybody's saying Dak Prescott. Dak's not my favorite. Dak is not my favorite. Trey Moore, basketball player, Blair Chandler. Booby, says Martin Smith. I hope he's talking about an athlete. Eric Molds, Danny E. Piter. Jay Hammer says 2, Kiefer McGee and Darrell Wilson. Rocky Felker from Ken Trump. D.D. Lewis from Carlton Gooden. I'm sorry, Carlton. I just don't. Dave Boo Ferris from Bram Bermucci. Itty Bitty from Paula Smallwood Dobbs. Will Clark from Heather Hollis Reese. Dak and Smoot Shannon Davis. Jimmy Webb, Glenn Duncan, Jake Mangum, Drew Newell. Super D, Anthony Covington. It's going really fast, so if I missed yours, I apologize. Jennifer Tipton says Will Clark. Nick Fitz after this year, Jason Brinson. So I'm going to go ahead and give mine away. And I'm going to be similar to Jennifer Tipton and Heather Hollis Reese. My favorite Mississippi State player of all time was Will Clark. I grew up in that era. Will Clark was my favorite Mississippi State player. When he got to the San Francisco Giants, I was a San Francisco Giants fan. I was a Will Clark fan. I was that kid running around in a Will Clark shirt in Mississippi with a San Francisco Giants hat. Will Clark's my favorite of all time. Ken Hull says Charles Hunt. John Bond says Bob Rogers. Eugene Clinton says Kyle Fogarty. Dak and Eric Mold says Karen Morgan DeWeese. Jay Hammer says Will Clark was my favorite till I met him. He's a jerk. You know, I don't want to have to go into business with the man. I'm not marrying the man, so if he's a jerk, he's a jerk. Number 2. What's the best Mississippi State-inspired name for a dog? If you were naming a dog, what's the best Mississippi State-inspired name you can come up with? What did you say? You don't get to talk on this show anymore. Did you say okay. Ahem. Somebody says Raph. I don't know if that's the dog or that's your favorite athlete. It might work for both. Jax. Bell says, Troy Dees. That's a good one. Bell. Grace Acker good with Bell as well. Ginger Tuck says Bully, and Ginger Tuck ends the whole thing. I guess that's right. Bully's the best name for a dog. Shark Hunter. Winsome. Winsome's a good name. Blair Chandler. I like that. Winsome. I've never thought of that. Yeah, okay. I know that Bully is the name of Mississippi State's dog. I'm just saying you're not gonna buy a poodle and name it Bully. You're not gonna buy a Cocker Spaniel and name it Bully. All right. I have a dog named Dak, says James King. AJ Papa says Mullins. Chris Bell says Go Tigers because he can't. I don't know what Chris Bell's doing. Klenga. Not bad. Not bad. Come here, Klenga. I don't know. I don't like that. Sorry. It didn't sound good out in the real life. Number 3. Who is the better TV character? Ron Swanson or Dwight Schrute? Who's the better television character? Ron Swanson or Dwight Schrute? Dwight Kurt Schrute of The Office. Ron Swanson of Parks and Rec. Both very good shows. If you've never watched those shows, you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer this. Russell Berry says Dwight. J Stubb says Ron. Dwight. Ron. Somebody says it's a tie. Ron. Somebody says Shrek. That's not nice. Dwight. Ron. Ron. I think it's 4-3 Ron. 5-3 Ron. 5-4 Ron. 5-5. It's close. Dwight and Ron. It's got to be Ron Swanson, right? The Office is a better show, but Ron Swanson's a better character. Ron Swanson's one of the best TV characters of all time. Ron Swanson is incredible. Dwight Schrute. I think Dwight actually is going to come back and win this. Bacon is greater than beet, says Ethan Fleury. I like that. Bring me all the bacon and eggs you have. Number 4. This is a good question. Everybody pay attention. What is the best song that has the word Mississippi somewhere in the lyrics? What is the best song in history that has the word Mississippi somewhere in the lyrics? Who do you think will win between LSU and State in the Real Death Valley? Says Chris Bell. Chris Bell, an LSU fan who has apparently gotten lost. Chris, I'm here to tell you you have the worst coach in the country, and LSU is going to lose to Mississippi State in Death Valley. Mississippi Queen, says Jay Hammers and Tony Mariotti. Paula Smallwood Dobbs, thank you. Ode to Billy Joe, Joey Dees. Mississippi Man, Louisiana Woman, Jimmy Aycock, Mississippi Queen, Bill Anderson. Blackwater, Doobie Brothers, I think that's my vote. Danielle Whalen Go Day with that one. Got the name right. Mississippi Queen, Christmas in Dixie. Grace Thacker Good. Uptown Funk. Drew Newell. That does say Jackson, Mississippi, doesn't it? ZZ Top, My Head's in Mississippi. Conway Twitty, Mississippi Man. Train, Mississippi. Not a song, but Mississippi Squirrel Revival. It is a song, isn't it? Not a real song, but it's a fake song. It's a, parody song. Doobie Brothers, Blackwater. Again, that's my vote. Nobody said Black Velvet by Alana Miles. I might sing Black Velvet real quick. You mind? You said I have the voice of an angel. That's what you said. You said I could sing at your wedding. Number 5. What in all the world of chain restaurants? What is the very worst chain restaurant in this country? What is the very worst chain restaurant? I know Terp's trying to be mad at me, but he's got an answer here. What's the worst chain restaurant? The worst. LSU will do just fine this year. I like to go back to Chris Bell comments during the interim here. LSU will not do just fine this year, Chris. You hired the worst coach in the country. I need to keep saying that because apparently you don't get it. McDonald's, does that count? It's a chain restaurant. Applebee's, White Castle, Long John Silver, says Tony Mariotti. Crystals, Long John Silver has a second vote. McDonald's has a second vote. Crystals has a second vote. Taco Bell, Hardee's. What's wrong with Hardee's? Applebee's, Burger King, El Chico. I don't know what that is. Chili's, Golden Corral. Denny's because they left Starkville, says Paula Smallwood Dobbs. Taco Bell, Olive Garden. I can't. Olive Garden's okay. I couldn't say hi. I can't think of one I don't like. I love food, says Heather Hollis Reese. Somehow that's the right answer. Somehow that is the right answer. I don't know how Heather did it. All right. Somebody says Buffalo Wild Wings. Lance Chain can't think of one either. Let's drop the podcast listeners off here. Thank you for listening. Facebook Live, I'll come back to you for about 5 more minutes. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. My name's Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Look at that on a ties day. Look at that tie. I ate Hardee's every morning before class at MSU, T. Matthews. Yeah, I can't say Hardee's. I like my favorite fast food burger is the Frisco burger at Hardee's. I love it. And I don't wake up for breakfast, but if I did, Hardee's has the best fast food breakfast. Don't they? I feel like they do. Jude Landry says, I look good. Thank you, Jude. Chris Bell is a lost child. Yeah, Chris Bell's having problems. Hey, Chris Bell shows up about once a week. Late, but I'm here. Hail State, Dickie Delishment. All right. And we're not going to ban Chris. I'm not going to ban. He hasn't said anything untoward yet. He hasn't said anything out of the ordinary or rude. He's just saying go Tiger. So we can point and laugh at him, but we're not going to ban him. The tournament is back on now. Good. Troy Harper. Vanderbilt and Texas A&M playing right now. Hopefully it doesn't back up things too badly. But it's supposed to rain off and on all day. It's already, like during this show, it's been raining here. And now the sun is shining here. It's a weird day outside. Thank you, good sir. We can still be friends. No, I can't have friends that are LSU fans. Sorry. We can be acquaintances, Chris, but we can't be friends. I can't. I don't want to be getting that call late at night, having to bail an entire fan base out of jail. Maybe he will see the light. D. Curtis. Whataburger has the best fast food breakfast. Jennifer Tipton, that might be right, but I don't have a Whataburger here in Georgia. And I didn't have one in Mississippi. Whataburger is fantastic, and I love it. But I can't say it has the best fast food breakfast because I don't have one. I hope LSU beats Ole Miss, James King. I think we can all sign off on that one. That Halloween Whopper was pretty good a couple of years ago. Blake Boswell, don't know what that means at all. Don't have a clue what that means. I think of you as a best friend. Chris Bell, I would probably co-sign a loan to your house. We are tight. We are great friends. I like LSU. I pull for them when they are not playing us. James King. I don't like Corey Dickey. I don't like any team outside of Mississippi State. Why did LSU getting a quarterback that never saw the field for Ohio State make you go from 99 to 94%? Maybe from 99 to 98. Grad transfers are iffy. Well, he's not a classic grad transfer. He graduated quickly, so he's got 2 years to play. The only reason it makes me iffy is if you sign to play for Urban Meyer, you're probably pretty good. If you sign at Ohio State, you're probably pretty good. And the ones they had right now, the quarterbacks they had, I knew they weren't going to be any good. I don't know about this guy. So the uncertainty made me knock it down a peg. We have 3 Whataburgers in the Jackson metro area. James King, I would like to be there. I do love Whataburger. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'll be at the LSU game on my birthday. Would love a win as my gift, says Paula Smallwood Dobbs. Hey, did I tell them about the email address yet for the show? No. Okay. So you can email the show now. You can actually email me, morecowbellshow@gmail.com. I should have said that before now. I should have brought that up. Thank you for the graphic. You were very quick on your feet. All right. You got your head on a swivel, and I like where your head's at. Who works for SEC Country that's obsessed with Florida? I swear I see too many Florida posts. Trey Adcock. We have Florida writers. We have 2 Florida writers, and we have a Florida podcast host. So we cover a lot of Florida here at SEC Country. We cover the entire SEC. Whataburger's Buffalo Chicken Sandwich. How did we get to Whataburger? How did this happen? Just one person said they have a good breakfast, and now every other post is about Whataburger. Mullen didn't want him at Florida. Tells me he might have spoken with Meyer about him and heard something he didn't like, says Chad Mask. I thought about that, but I also think with Mullen bringing in that Jones kid that he brought in, he's going to give him a shot eventually, and he didn't want this guy to get in the way of that. I did think about that, though. Augie Yarkovsky says, please put the email address up before the show ends. Yeah, we got to get, if they don't know the email address, how are they going to email me? We got to eventually get it up there. James King says, Chris Bell, I love the state of Louisiana and the food is the best in the country. I will sign off on that. The food in Louisiana is unbelievable. And if I had to move somewhere based on the food, I would move to Louisiana in a heartbeat. That would be where I would move. Louisiana is a great state. LSU fans are usually great people. But Ed Orgeron, come on. Why does Bama have 2 shows on SEC Country? James King, they don't. We are testing one right now. And the video show that we're testing and the podcast are 2 separate things. So they don't have 2 shows on SEC Country. Somebody said praise. Somebody praised Brandon. I got to go down. Somebody praises Brandon. Oh, I see. You were telling Landshark to take the praise from me. Please start Friday shows, says Bill Anderson. Bill Anderson, you are always on the Friday shows. We're going to get there. Louisiana is the worst state in the union, says Jay Hammers. I think you misspelled Arkansas, but okay. They can be the worst state in the union and still have the best food, right? They have great food. You can't tell me they don't have great food. And not even just in New Orleans, anywhere in Louisiana. I used to cover, one of my first jobs out of, in this business was covering football down in Bogalusa and Franklinton and Covington, Louisiana. And their high school football games on Friday night would have jambalaya and gumbo and all Cajun food. Unbelievable. In Mississippi, you're lucky to get popcorn and nachos. You cross the river down there, and all of a sudden you're getting jambalaya and gumbo at high school football games on a Friday night. I would move to Buffalo, New York because wings are my favorite food. Ethan Fleury, I don't think you have to go to Buffalo to get wings. You can get wings anywhere, buddy. How wonderful would it be to be paired up with Ole Miss in the Super, Chad Mask? As long as we get to a Super or regional, I don't care who it is. Just got to get there. Bring Landshark to a game so she can tailgate with us. Can I get a thumbs up on that or thumbs down? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Go tailgate at a game, and your thumb is in the middle. That's not what we want. All right. I would rather not take land shark anywhere near Starkville. All right. There's certain places in life I want to be land shark free, and Starkville, Mississippi is one of them. And it's nothing against you. It's just that the way you choose to live your life is completely against everything I believe in. You went to Ole Miss. What do you want me to do? All right, we got to shut this thing down. Hi, Nate. We got to shut this thing down. We'll go ahead and shut it down for today. We'll be back tomorrow. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.